Hi guys, it's April. Welcome back to my channel. I haven't done a video in a really long time, and I probably should have done one by now because I've had a few different ideas swirling around. But today I happen to come down to my basement, and what I'm trying to do is just upcycle stuff that I have around my house and make it into finished products. So today I was rummaging through some old tile that I had from when I redid my bathroom for my old house and brought the tile over here, and it's just been sitting in a box for a couple of years now. But it's that really cool rectangular tiles that you've probably seen people do backsplashes with in bathrooms. So I just decided to cut them and grind them down and try to make some jewelry out of them. So stick around if you want to watch me do this. Okay, so I have a wet saw that is a tile saw, but I was cutting these in half with the wet saw. And I realize not everybody has stuff like this lying around the house, but I'm married to an engineer and we have a full-blown workshop down here. So there's a lot of really cool equipment down here. But anyway, you can obviously cut these tiles down. This is probably about I'm going to say maybe 4 inches. So you'd probably want to cut that in half to do a decent size rectangular pendant. And that's what I've done here. But in addition to the wet saw, I have a glass grinder. So let me show you this piece of equipment here. It's called hopefully you can see this. It's a Superstar 2 glass star. You can find these in any stained glass store. And I can't remember what I paid for this. I'm sorry. It's been a few years now, but it's wonderful. It has a little diamond wheel here, a large size diamond wheel, and then a small size diamond wheel. And you just basically fill a reservoir with water and make sure you have a sponge on your diamond wheel, just a wet sponge to make sure you don't have dust. And then you can just start grinding the glass, and all I do is I just grind off these edges and these corners. So I'll demonstrate that right now. Make sure you wear your safety glasses, and you might want to wear an apron just so that you don't splash water all over yourself. I'm going to get to it now, just setting up the shot. So yeah, here we have the pendant that just needs its edges rounded off. Make sure you get the flat edge as well. I just go in one pass, and that's good enough. So yeah, here's the finished product. Looks really nice. And I'll just continue to do a few more. See how broken off that is. Just grind that down. I'm gonna wet the whole side. Again, one pass on the flat edge. No, 2 passes actually. Okay, looking good. Okay, so this part of the video is where we take the glass tile that we cut down in the workshop, and we're going to wire wrap this and turn it into a pendant. Okay everybody, here are a selection of pieces that I've already cut from the tiles, and now it's just a matter of finding one that I'm going to pick to wire wrap. I actually like this one the best. This has a really pretty blue color, and I like the browns in it. And as far as the design, Here's one I've already wrapped. I'm gonna go with this design. It's nice for a rectangle. It's relatively simple. There's just a couple of different weaves involved in this one. And now I'll just show you how to do that. Okay, so as far as materials go, what I have here is 20 gauge, just some colored wire. And then I have 28 gauge weaving wire, silver. And I'm gonna cut 4 pieces of this right now. I like to use my Fiskars mat. Let me grab this. This has been really a nice addition to my craft room. I really like this mat. It's just a quick, easy measurement tool available to me at any time. All right, so I think I'm gonna go 14. Let's see if you can see up here. I'm gonna go up to 14 inches per strand. So I'm gonna do 4 14-inch cuts on this wire. 1, 2, 3. I think I'm gonna go right up to the, almost using up all of the rest of my wire here. 4. All right. Oh, sorry. As far as materials go and tools, this is my heavy duty wire cutter. I also have a small wire cutter just for getting into smaller spaces. And typically I like to use this for my finer gauge wire. And then I have this nylon jaw plier. And all I do with this is I straighten my wire, because when you cut it, it tends to take on the shape of the spool. So I just try to straighten that out so I can work with it a little bit easier. Okay, that's that one. It's not going to be perfect. That'll be better than what it was. And another. This is entirely optional. You don't have to do this. Okay. There's 2, 3. I'm gonna cut this end off. Okay. So I've got my 4 wires. I'm going to just even them out. Get them all in the same length. Now, what to do? I think I will start weaving the 2, I call it the 2-4 wrap. So I'm gonna just take 2 of them, and I'm gonna take my silver weaving wire, and I'm right-handed, so I like to work on the right end of the wire, and I usually go leftwards. I guess it would be opposite if you're a lefty. 2, 3, 4. Squeeze that down, compress it. Okay, bring that little tail down. I just leave a little tiny tail. Okay, and I'm gonna put my second wire on top of that. And what we'll do now is we're gonna just wrap twice. Okay. It's always a little awkward to start, but once you get it a few rotations in, it's much easier. Okay, so it's just a 2, and then I'm gonna spread these out, and then I wrap around the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, compress it, 2 more, 1, 2, around both, and then 4 around the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. I hope that's coming through nicely on the camera. A few more rotations, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and since I have a piece that is relatively the same length as the new pendant I'm making, what I'll do now is I'll count how many rotations I have, just so I know how to make on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I've got about 10. So what I'll do now off camera is 10 rotations on this pair of wires, and then 10 rotations on the other pair of wires, and then I'll meet you back here. All right, I've done the weaving on both sides. I've done 10 rotations, and a rotation is what I consider 4 wraps on the bottom wire, 2 wraps on both, 4 wraps on the bottom. And I did that 10 times on each. And then on one side, I just cut my weaving wire. I like to cut it so that it's facing the back, and then I just have to fold it over and use a tool to push down any sharps. So that's how I do that. So, well, that didn't go very well. And it's a little hard to see, I apologize, but it's the very tip. You just want to make sure that doesn't stick out and snag somebody on the skin or their clothing. Okay, now we've got these 2 pairs, and what you want to do is you want to center your weave on the entire wire. So try to get it in the middle. Oh, leave the wire on at least one of these with the spool, so don't cut them both off. All right, so now I'm going to center my stone, and the idea is it's going to go to the back. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a little curve in it, just a slight curve, okay? So that it kind of crescents this end and this end meet the edge of the stone. All right, and now I'm going to take these wires and push them to the back. Okay, just like that. Just like that. Try to get them straight. Okay, all right. So now it would be hugging the stone on the bottom. Okay, just like that. Let's do that with the other side. Okay, gonna just put a little bend. Oh, one thing I should mention is the part where you did most of the coiling on the bottom, that's going to be your outer wire on both sides, okay? So make sure your pattern is consistent on both sides. Don't have it flipped that way, because then your 4-2 weave is going to be the same. You want it to be symmetrical. I hope that makes sense. So I think that would be a common mistake people could make doing this the first time. Okay, let's get going on this side. Same thing that we did, we're just going to bend it back and have it hook up. All right, well, those wires are much straighter. All right, now, here's what we'll do. Now that we've got this somewhat formed, and it's a little awkward, but that's not normal. So what we'll do is we'll take the stone out, and now we've got our 4 wires back here. And take your weaving wire, and I know this is awkward and I apologize, it's just temporarily the nature of the beast here. You're gonna get all 4 of your wires together, and I would just say let's just twine these together a few times with our wrapping wire. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go over them 2 times. 1, 2. Oh, got them caught up in the other side. Okay, so I just wrapped around the bottom of the pendant twice. Okay, all right, if you can see that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twine a few times. So I'm going to go around this bottom wire, try to keep them straight. A little hard to do. Okay, so just twining around bottom. Twining around the next wire, second one, over, and then between the bottom and the second wire. Okay, now onto the third wire, over, between third wire and second wire. Okay, tighten, make it taut. Now we're on the fourth wire, over and between third and fourth wire. So you're just wrapping around each of the wires. All right, so that's what I have. And I'm going to do this just one more time. I'm going to keep it at the bottom of the pendant. So now I bring the whole wire down the back side. All right, the entire back side. And now I'm on the bottom again. So let's just repeat that pattern once more. Okay, between bottom and second wire. Okay, up, between second and third wire, and then around second wire. Okay, up, over third wire, between second and third wire, okay, last wire, top wire, fourth, up, over. Oh, maybe I should have done it this way, it's easier to see. And then between the fourth wire and the third wire, and wrap around. Okay, and just to secure that, I am going to wrap 2 more times around this fourth wire, and then I'm going to cut it. 1 and 2. Good. That's what you should have. That should be your pattern. Okay, and again, like I was saying, this is going to be where the stone fits. Okay, so we're working on the front of these 4 wires. So where I want to do is just cut this ever so small, and I want to fold that wire back and hide it. Okay, hide it behind the wire so that it sits on the back of the stone. Stubborn. Okay, let's get it. Sometimes you need to use your fingernails. Okay, all right. So here's what we have so far. I'm pushing my wires out because they are going to go in this direction. These weaved wires. Okay, here's what we have so far. Let's fit our stone in. I'm going to keep this brown band on the top. Okay, oh, that looks nice. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is hold it really firm with my thumb, right? And have this bottom be really locked in on the bottom, really tight, okay? Now, bend your weaved wires, okay? And let's bring them, let me look at my pattern here on my previous. Okay, we're gonna crisscross on the back, okay? So fold that back on this side, fold these two back, opposite, okay? Now we're gonna crisscross on the back. Oh, get that guy sitting down as far as you can. It's important to keep tension on this when you're making these folds, because this is really what's securing the stone in place. Okay, all right, nice, get it tight. That's the key here, get everything tight. All right, now the fun part. I'm gonna come around and do another crisscross. Okay. Not too much though, just fold it around the stone, okay? Keep it kind of out. This is what you should have. Don't fold too hard. All right, now the idea is we've got our 4 wires that we use to make the back support. These are going to go around those. So let's do that with our fingers. All right. And I'm just going to make a wrap around one time. Same with this side. Keep your wires straight. That's key. Keep them straight and make that nice crisscross design back over. And I'm going to go under. I think that might be better. These other 2 wires. All right, and there we are. All right, now hopefully if you did that right, that secured your stone. Now you should be locked in. And here's where you can just kind of arrange things how you want it. Play with it a little bit to just make those adjustments to make it look good. And in the back, I've got a little bit of spacing I don't like, so I'm going to go ahead and just give that a push with my needle nose. Keep them together a little bit more. All right. All right, good, good, good. Now, these guys right here, I need to do something with them. So what I'm going to do is bring them down to the back. All right, I'm going to get my cutter. I'm going to cut right to about this length, maybe just 2/3 of the piece. 2/3 of the way down this. So this is what I have. Okay. I'm just going to wrap them around these horizontal, well, not horizontal, but this set of wires right here, okay? So watch me do that. I am going to take my needle nose pliers for this. And I think actually I want to just cut that ever so slightly more because I'm going to make a hook. Okay, so watch how I do this. I just bend and then I hook under. See that? Hook it under. Same with this guy. Bend and hook it under. Okay. All right. Get it hooked under. Voila. Okay. Let's do that on these upper wires. I just gotta get my length right. Oh, that might have been too much, yikes. All right, well, I'll deal with it. Gotta be careful with how much you cut off. It could come back to bite you. Okay, I think I got it though. All right, so those are our hooks. All right, what's left? Our bail. All right, cool. That's where we're at. Not bad. Gonna go back to our weaving wire. And sometimes when I'm at this point, I like to just even up my bail wires. I'm not gonna need this much wire. I went way too liberal on it. So let me cut this back a bit. My bail is not gonna be probably more than this length. Oh, what's that about? 2.5 inches. So let me cut this down to about here. I'll just leave a little on for safety. Okay, now I'm working with some nice flush cut wires. Let's go back to our piece. Let's get these wires spaced out so you can work with them pretty easily. And make sure they're even, so don't make sure they're not stacked on one another. And really, you can do whatever kind of bail you want if you're knowledgeable about weaves and bails. I think for this one, I am going to do 2 different styles here. So I'm going to weave the back, these top 2 wires together, and I'm going to leave this one out for now. I'm going to do something a little different on that one. So these guys are in a V shape. These outer wires, we'll call them. We're going to just wrap the weaving wire 3 times, 3 or 4 times, doesn't really matter as long as it's secure, around this bottom wire. Bring it down, and then we do what's called a figure 8 weave. We take it over this bottom wire, under the top wire, over the top wire, and then 1 wrap around that top wire, over the top wire 1 more time, under bottom wire, wrap around the bottom wire 1 time, back up on the bottom wire, under top wire, over the top wire, wrap 1 more time, under the bottom wire, over the bottom wire, wrap 1 more time, under the top wire, over, and you're going to just keep repeating that pattern over. The key is to always, when you're ready to make the transition, to hop from the top wire to the bottom, bottom to top, always bring it under. Okay, I'm going to do this off camera for a little while until I get a good size bail, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, so here we are. We're at this point where I've weaved, this is going to be the top part of my bail in the back. So what I did now is I just, I curved these 2 wires inward, and then when I fold this down, then this will be the back side of the bail, and it will be tapering downward. So we'll continue to weave on this quote-unquote back side of the bail until we get to this area where they intersect. But in the meantime, we've got this little tail of wire, so I'm just going to cut that with my nippers, get in there really close, cut it, and like I say, just always bend down your sharps. Don't want any of that wire sticking out. Okay, all right, so let's continue a few more rotations to show you how to get the back of this bale complete. So I'm still doing that same exact pattern I showed you earlier. We're gonna just have to go around these wires. So from the top, we go around behind, sorry, from the bottom, we go around, we go behind the top wire, over the top wire, wrap around one more time, the top wire to secure it, and then back below the bottom wire, under. Okay, keep the tension on this bale. You don't want these wires to get too spaced. And then wrap around the bottom wire. One more time around the bottom wire. And then back behind, we're already behind, so we'll go one more time. And 1 and 2, and then back behind. Yeah, okay. One more time. Okay, so continue the pattern, and I'll meet you back when we're done with this, when we come to the end here. All right, I am at the end of the bale. So here's the fun part. We're actually going to take a pen. I like to just take a pen. I think that's the easiest thing. And all we do is fold the bale over, okay, using the pen, okay. And I'm actually going to cut my weaving wire. So let's do that. Down. Okay, bring this in a little bit more. Using my pen just to keep my shape the way I want it. Okay. And then I'm gonna just fold that in with my pliers. Okay. Okay, just get it close so that we can close it off shortly, not just yet. Okay, now we have the top front wires to work. Now you have options here. You can just keep that blue, which, you know, looking at that, I actually really like it, just blue. I was going to weave more silver around it, but I'm actually digging the color contrast. So if you think that's going to work for you, I think that will work for me. Let's bend that. Let's bend that over the new bale. Okay. Form it around. And let's see here. Let's get these wires down. Just manipulate it so that it folds over. Okay, good, good, good. I like it. Now, let's separate those two center wires. One goes to the right, one goes to the left. And we're going to wrap around the front with these. Oh, they're starting to keep them flat against the piece. Oh, you know what? It's not really working out too well. trying to think what to do here. I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. Straighten them back out. Don't wrap them around. It's okay, you know, we have to sometimes just go with the flow with these things. Sometimes you make a move and it doesn't quite work out in the long run, so we have to just pivot. Just like anything in life, something's not working out. Change your plan. Don't feel like you have to go down that road. I think humans tend to make that mistake a lot. We get tunnel vision with things. Okay, so here we are. Everything's looking good here. Now, what wire am I going to use to wrap? I'm going to use one of my outer bale wires. Okay, I'll use this guy. So I'm going to wrap around the back of the bale wire and take your needle nose and fold that in. Go between your bale, okay? Don't go around the front. Let's go between the bale and get that guy on the other side, that wire. Yeah, I know this is really awkward and goofy, so let me try to show this better. All right, let's bring him out. See what I'm doing here? I hope this is visible. Okay. Okay, same with the other side now. We're gonna take this outer bale wire, bring it around, just fold it around, okay? Bring him through the bale. Sometimes it's easiest just to use your fingers. And then use your pliers to wrap. Okay, well, let's get that guy in a little bit more, tuck him in. You gotta be a little careful with doing this because it could deform your bale and you don't want that to happen. So let's get that. Wrapped around. Okay. Now we're at the point where we probably can just cut these wires. Okay. So these are the two wires I used to wrap around the bale. I'm gonna just bring them in one last time and then cut them inside the bale so you can't see them on the outside. Okay, so let's get this one to go around one more time. You know what? Here's what I like to do. I'm gonna cut that just to make it shorter and easier to maneuver. Okay. Well, maybe a 1/4 inch. And all I'm gonna do is fold that in. Okay, let's fold it in. Second wire, same thing. Cut that. Fold it in. Okay, let's turn it around, see how it's looking. My wires are a little lopsided, so I'm just going to maneuver them down a little bit. Okay, here we are, but we're not done yet. we have to just get rid of these 2 wires that are hanging out here, that are from the center, our centerpiece, our center blue wires. So this is pretty easy. All you really need to do, again, let's separate them, okay? We're gonna separate them, put them right side, left side. And I think all we really need to do here is curl them. So in order to get a good curly Q, they're still just slightly longer than I'd like them to be. But I like to just form, let's try to get them symmetrical so that that bottom is looped like this. That's going to form the base of the curl, and you'll see what I mean in just a minute. All right, now I'm just going to cut a very, maybe just a 1/4 of an inch on either side. Okay, I'm going to take my round nose pliers, and I'm going to bring that, I'm going to go on the thicker part of the plier so I can get a bigger curl. Okay, and just take that, bring it in. Okay, bring it in. Same with the other side. Try to stay in the same place where you started your initial curl. Okay, there we are. Now I'm going to tuck those underneath these wires. I don't really want them to be on the outside. I'm going to kind of hide those curls just to keep them a little inconspicuous. I don't want them to be part of the back of the piece. All right. All right. I think we are done. What do you think? All right, so there we are. It's all wrapped, and one more thing. I want to make sure my bail is looking. You sometimes need to just adjust your bail just so that it looks straight, symmetrical. All right, here we are. So there's your piece. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful to you and it will inspire you to create some stuff around the house, just upcycling whatever materials that you have lying around. That was really why I did this, and you can make it turn it into a beautiful pendant. If you are interested in my pendants, I do have an Etsy website. It's called Epic Stones, and I will put that in the comments for this video. So thanks again. I appreciate your time, guys. Have a great day.